Hey y'all, Jewel here, back at it again with the speed draw. For today's video I'll be showing the time-lapse for this Headspace Basil art piece I made inspired by the cutscene in Omori on the third day. I originally planned for this to just be a simple one-off sketch, but I couldn't help myself. I've wanted to draw more Omori fan art and even create Aubrey, Kel, Mari and hero art because I have no self-control. And it's one of the only series I've ever considered myself a huge fan of. Before I delve into the artistic process, I want to touch upon my relationship with Omori the game. Now, I like movies and shows and games like anyone else, but in my personal experience, liking something and being a fan of it express different levels of interest. For example, I like Avatar The Last Airbender, Shrek, and Story of Seasons Harvest Moon. 3 very different properties, but I wouldn't consider myself a fan exactly. In other words, I've essentially gate-kept myself from being a fan of anything I don't think I've put enough time into worshipping or researching. Because, not to get personal, but let's just say I've been gate-kept a lot in my life from things I wanted to like but just didn't get to, so it's kind of just like second instinct. I'm trying to move past this stigma by letting myself like things more often, but still, it's hard to not accuse myself of being a fake fan because I can't name every single fun fact about a franchise. But Omori was different. Now there are properties I can confidently say I'm a fan of, Danganronpa, Deltarune, and Hazbin Hotel to name a few. However, despite how much I like these properties, none of them have come close to how I feel about Omori. Sorry, I know I got really off topic in the beginning of the video with fandoms and stuff, but I can't express how exhilarating it was to play through Omori and for the first time in a long time find a character so relatable. I won't get too deep into it, but playing through the game as Sunny and experiencing his dream state as well as his trauma felt so well executed and yet something I felt very deeply. I mean, I'm a little bit of a dreamer myself if you can tell by the outro, but yeah, I've read the Omori wiki, listened to the music countless times, like oh my god, do it on repeat. Drawn and sketched the characters. I really do feel something for this game I don't quite feel for any other property. Like, it's not even a contest, man. Like, it's probably why this simple sketch of Basil evolved into a full illustration. Basil, despite how much criticism he gets from the community, is one of my favourite characters, second to Sunny. I mean, I won't spoil anything despite the art piece of this video basically being a spoiler, and I probably spoiled some stuff earlier. Might need to add a disclaimer. But Basil's story is just as tragic as Omori's. But Basil's story is just as tragic as Sunny's, even if he chose to do what he did. After all, he didn't know what else to do. He was young and afraid, which is why in this sketch, I wanted you to look at Basil and feel the true fear that he did in that moment. I was originally planning to have it simply shaded like all my previous pieces, but in the end I decided that through some experimentation with the shading, making his behind shaded and leaving his front side lit up was more ominous and threatening. Not to mention, I really needed to break out of my comfort zone for shading everything with the most basic pitch lighting. As for the line art, this was a treat for me, because in Headspace, the main cast is stylized with navy violet outlines. I usually colour my line art to make it look soft and pretty, but because I could just do the lines in one colour, not to mention it matches the aesthetic of Headspace as a whole, I didn't have to spend time on that. I liked trying out the new shading style, but because of the lighting I chose, there was quite a bit more work to do than I was used to. For some parts, I worked backwards by shading a large area and then refining it with the erasure tool. I chose a purple colour for shading to match the aesthetic of Headspace and the line art. But to draw attention, I shaded his eyes with some red. Looking at it now, I think I didn't incorporate it as well as I could have. It made the eye look a little bit out of place, but like not in a good way. But yeah, I also think that I should have used multiple purples in the shading rather than just one, because even though I think purple shading would have matched it really well, I think I could have used more purple to give more dimension. On a high note, I'm really happy with how the base colors and posing and everything turned out. I think that with a few tweaks, it could be better, but I really do like how this piece came out. But But yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble on about my Basil speed draw. If y'all like the video, maybe consider, liking, maybe even a sub. And if none of those, then hopefully I'll see you back here again of your own merit. Later.